Are you thinking of entering the market but you're concerned about the bull run? Is it still on or is it ending? Social media is no help. The other side says, yes, there's just in. Tough times for Singapore property is over. Rejoice. While another source say, everyone buckle up, it's going to get worse. So who do you listen to? Well, don't worry because your number one Singapore real estate insider is on the case.
So the big question is this: how busy professionals and homeowners like us make six-figure profits from the property we own safely by doing it with research, data, and numbers. How do we buy in a way without complications and half-guessing, regardless of the market conditions, and still remain profitable? That is the question. Here, I will share with you exactly what we do and how we do it. My name is Edmund Tan, and welcome to Singapore Real Estate Insider.
Hi and welcome back to Singapore Real Estate Insider. I'm Edmund Tan, your go-to guy on making an informed property decision through research and data. Today, we are tackling the big question. Are the good times in Singapore's housing market waving goodbye? Join us as we break it down in simpler terms and equip you with the knowledge you need. Before we answer the question of whether or not the Singapore property bull market is coming to an end, let's take a quick look first at the state of the current property market. In the past 5 years, Singapore real estate market has grown 30%, avoiding the downturns that other big cities have seen. To cool the hot market, major measures have been taken such as rising stamp duty rates. Singapore citizens who are purchasing their second residential properties are now required to pay an additional buyer's stamp duty amounting to 20% of the property's selling price in taxes. Non-residents are subjected to an additional buyer's stamp duty tax rate of 60%, which represents a twofold increase from the previous rate of 30%. Consequently, Singapore now holds the distinction of imposing the highest stamp duty on foreigners worldwide. Foreigners, on the other hand, have to pay 60%, which is the highest stamp duty rate in the world for foreigners. Singapore's property prices, including high-end homes, are still high even though taxes have gone up. This is because the local market is stable and rich people are setting up businesses and family offices. The strong Singapore dollar shows that the country is a safe place to spend, which brings both wealthy individuals and foreign funds into the property market. Prices of private homes in Singapore went up by 0.8% in the third quarter of 2023, which is more than the initial estimates of 0.5%. This comes after a slight decrease of 0.2% in the second quarter. Rental market. The third quarter of 2023 witnessed a decline of 1.7% in the rental rates of non-landed properties located in the core region CCR, in contrast to the 2.0% growth observed in the second quarter of the same year. The rental rates in the rest of Central Region RCR experienced a growth of 1.9% during the third quarter of 2023, in contrast to the 2% increase observed in the second quarter of the same year. The growth rate of rental properties in the OCR region experienced a decline, reaching 1.3% during the third quarter of 2023, in contrast to the 2.9% growth observed in the second quarter of the same year. Stock and vacancy. The vacancy rates for private residential properties in the CCR, RCR, as well as OCR at the conclusion of the third quarter of 2023 were 10%, 9.3% and 7.3% respectively. These figures indicate an increase compared to the previous quarter's rate of 7.9%, 7.9% and 4.6% for CCR, RCR and OCR respectively. Why not subscribe to the channel now? Give it a thumbs up at the same time. It will help us a lot. The Singapore government wants a stable property market with affordable houses for everyone. They have put in rules to control prices, trying to avoid big jumps or crashes. Some people think that the current prices are reasonable and not just because of speculations or crazy demand. However, despite these efforts, property prices have gone up by 30% in the last 5 years, making some people worried that the good times might end and there could be a crash in the property market. With all this data, how do we really determine if another bull market is about to happen? Supply and demand imbalance. When there is a scarcity of available properties, which is low inventory, and a high demand from buyers, a supply and demand imbalance occurs. Limited supply combined with high demand can lead to increased competition among buyers, which often results in higher property prices. According to the data presented in this chart, the amount of inventory that is currently available is significantly less than what it has been throughout the course of the previous 5 years. On the other hand, looking closely at this next chart, you can see the transactional actions have slowed down a lot compared to the peak of demand 2 years ago, which helped the market bull run. Low interest rates. Low interest rates often set by central banks can make borrowing more affordable. When financing costs are low, buyers are more inclined to take up mortgages, increasing demand for properties. This demand can fuel a bull run, especially if supply is constrained. Take a look at this chart showing the interest rate trends from 2007 to the present. It becomes evident that the current interest rate stands at its highest level within the past 16 years. Many investors opt to acquire loans equivalent to 75% of the value of the property, rendering mortgages to fluctuations in interest rates. Economic growth. Strong economic growth often correlates with increased demand for real estate. A growing economy generally results in job creation, higher incomes, and improved consumer confidence, all of which can drive demand for housing and commercial properties. According to the latest analysis by MAS, it is anticipated that the global economy will experience a growth rate of 3.1% in the year of 2023. This projection indicates a slight decline from the previous year's growth rate of 3.4%. Furthermore, the global economy is expected to decelerate further, with a projected growth rate of 2.8% in the subsequent year of 2024. Based on the current projections, it is anticipated that Singapore's GDP growth for the year 2023 will likely fall within the lower spectrum of the official forecast range, which spans from 0.5% to 1.5%. In regards to the year 2024, there remains a level of uncertainty surrounding the robustness and durability of the observed increase in economic expansion. This upward trend is heavily reliant on external factors influencing the overall demand for goods and services. Government policies. Government policies and regulations play a crucial role in shaping the property market. Pro-development policies, incentives for real estate investments, and measures that support housing affordability can contribute to a positive property market environment. Well, it seems the Singapore government is like that strict parent who only loosens up once in the blue moon. It's been so long since they relaxed residential property measures that we are starting to wonder if they even remember where they put the chill button. Back in 2017, they decided to spice things up a little bit and reduce the holding period for the seller's stamp duty. It was like the government saying, hey, let's give sellers a chance to break free from commitment issues. In the year 2022, the MAS made the decision to increase the interest rate floor that is utilized in the calculation of debt and mortgage service ratios in response to the prevailing high market interest rates. When interest rates begin to decline, it is advisable for buyers to see this as the initial policies that may act as a catalyst. Infrastructure development. Are you familiar with The Sims? The cityscape game, where every road, park, shining new subway station is a potential goldmine for property investors. When the government decides to splash the cash on infrastructure developments, think slick transport networks, dazzling public amenities, ambitious urban projects, it's not just about making the city look pretty. No, this is a strategic move that can set the stage for the next property bull run. Investments in infrastructure don't just spurs up the place, they turn forgotten corners of the city into prime real estate. Now imagine a once overlooked neighborhood suddenly become the top of the town because it's got a new metro line or a beautiful park that feels like an oasis in the urban jungle. People start discussing and noticing it, and that's when the magic happens. Improved infrastructure doesn't just make a city more appealing, it makes certain areas downright irresistible for property investment. So when the bulldozers and cranes roll in, property investors perk up their ears. They know that behind every concrete pour and carefully planted tree is the potential for their investments to skyrocket. In the game of property investments, infrastructure development isn't just a pretty backdrop. It is a catalyst for the next big bull run. Where are we now in the property cycle? Picture the property market as a high maintenance roller coaster. It's just like any other cycles, complete with its trailing loops and the nosedive that leaves you gripping your seat. Singapore Property Price Index from Q1 93 to Q3 2023. In the Singapore residential scene from 1993 to 2023, as we approach the peak, it's like the market suddenly decides it's too tired for all the excitement and dramatically slows down. But oh dear, contractions don't believe in gentle starts. They prefer to dive right in. True, occasionally they might throw in a shallow tower just to keep things interesting. Now, here's the plot twist. The government is apparently moonlighting as a property market therapist. Over the last 30 years, they've had to deal with 4 major episodes of price decline, and guess what? They're getting better at it. It's like they're taking a crash course in price decline management 101. The latest market dip is so mild, it's practically a spa day compared to the wild roller coaster rides of the past. Managing price increases along long periods of growth isn't a walk in the park. But in the real estate world, a few factors are playing guardian angel to keep things stable and sensible. Number 1, low vacancy rates ensure properties find owners quickly, acting like matchmakers for real estate. Then there's the additional buyer's stamp duty, a financial speed bump for foreigners and investors, urging careful decisions. Add the seller's stamp duty, a commitment ring for property owners. Sell too soon and it might sting financially, encouraging commitment. Buyers in turn are in it for the long term, whether for a cozy home or a smart investment. This reduces wild speculation, keeping the real estate scene as steady and calm. It's a lesson in responsible real estate relationships because buying property is a very, very serious commitment. Are we expecting a market crash soon? Morgan Stanley, a US investment bank, is saying that in 2024, home prices might drop by 3% and stay down for about 2 years. Now, don't panic. This could just be a small hiccup before things pick up again. For the housing market to keep doing well or start a new winning streak, we need a bunch of good things. We are talking about having not too many houses waiting around, which is the low inventories. Lots of people wanting to buy, the high demand. Interest rates that makes borrowing money easy. Favorable interest rate environment. Economic growth. Some changes in the rules, which is government policies and infrastructure development. So it's like saying, hey, if we want the housing market to keep being awesome or become even better, we need all these good conditions in place. So fingers crossed for a housing success story. Property investing does not have to be confusing or difficult for homeowners like you anymore. Whether there is news of a market crash or not, it is crucial to be informed. This is where I, as your Singapore real estate insider, can assist you by guiding you towards the right path to take through research and data. Reach out to us so that we can start reaching for your property goals soon. So invest wisely and I'll see you very soon.